All right, college football and stuff here. It is week 10 of the college football season. I want to be going over all of the group of 5 teams and independents in this video. All right, we got a bunch of games because we got the MAC starting playing this week, so I'm going to jump right into it. Got a few Wednesday night games here. Eastern Michigan at Kent State, 6 o'clock on ESPN+. Kent State a 4.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Kent State in this game. Now, again, like I've said in some of my other videos, these games where we haven't seen the teams play yet, I'm really just going on my gut here. I would not bet these games just because you really don't know what you're going to get out of these teams. And I think that's especially true with these group of 5 teams because they just don't have the rosters to make up for any deficiencies for the most part. So you could see huge swings, you could see blowouts that you don't expect. You really don't know what you're going to get out of these games, but I'm going to take Kent State minus the 4.5 in that game. Western Michigan at Akron, 6 o'clock on ESPN3. Now, the Akron Zips played pretty good a few seasons ago, but absolutely terribly last year. Got blown away in pretty much every single game. Western Michigan an 18-point favorite. I'm going to take Western Michigan minus the 18 there. We'll see if Akron plays better this season, but if they play anything like they did last season, then that should be an easy cover by Western Michigan. Buffalo at Northern Illinois, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. Buffalo a 13-point favorite. Just under 2 touchdowns. It's hard to pick against Northern Illinois. I like their Husky mascot. But I think Buffalo is a slightly better team. It's just under 2 touchdowns. My gut says to take Buffalo minus those 13. Then we have Ohio at Central Michigan. 7 o'clock on ESPN. A ton of Wednesday night games here. It's interesting. Ohio a 2.5-point favorite, but I have liked Central Michigan in the past. They've been a team that I've never really watched in the regular season, but they've made a bowl game fairly regularly. I've watched them in those, and they've looked good. They usually play in like the Bahamas Bowl, one of those lower tier bowls, but a fun bowl for people, especially from Michigan in the middle of the winter, to be able to go to the Bahamas. Good game for them. I'm going to take Central Michigan plus those 2.5. I like Central Michigan. Then we have Ball State at Miami, Ohio, 7 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Miami, Ohio, a 2-point favorite. I'm going to pick them to cover. That's a really close spread. I think Miami is a slightly better team. Give me Miami, Ohio, minus the 2 points. Bowling Green at Toledo, 8 o'clock on ESPNU. Bowling Green, another team that looked good a few years ago that did not look good last year. Toledo is a 23.5-point favorite. I feel like that's a bunch of points for this team, but again, did not like the way Bowling Green played. I want to pick Bowling Green plus the points, but I don't know what we're going to get out of these teams. I'm taking Toledo minus the 23.5. Moving on to Thursday, Utah State at Nevada, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports 1. Nevada, a 16.5-point favorite. Like the way Nevada has looked, Utah State has been getting sort of blown out. They have not looked very good their first couple of games. Give me Nevada minus the 16.5. Wyoming at Colorado State, 9 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Wyoming a 3.5-point favorite, and I like Wyoming. I think they're playing pretty good football. Don't super trust Colorado State. I think Wyoming covers that. I think they cover it pretty easy. Yeah, give me Wyoming minus the 3.5 there. Moving on to Friday. San Jose State at San Diego State, 9 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Interesting little rivalry of two of the smaller Southern Cal teams. San Diego, a 9.5-point favorite. Both of these teams have looked okay. I think San Diego is the better team, though. Give me SDSU minus the 9.5, just under 10 points. I think that's a good spot for that spread. BYU at Boise State, 9:45 on Fox Sports 1. Two teams that have looked good so far. BYU, a 2.5-point favorite. I think this is going to be a good game. I feel like we know just a little bit more about BYU. The spread is really small. I'm going to take BYU to cover, but I think this is probably, of BYU's remaining games, I think this is probably one of their best chances of catching a loss, but we'll see. BYU has played well. I'm going to take BYU minus the 2.5. Moving on to Saturday. Air Force at Army, 11:30 on CBS. Army, a 5.5-point favorite. I liked Army this season. Give me Army minus the 5.5. It's two service academies playing each other. Really just hope for a good, clean game. No injuries. I think it'll be a fun game to watch. But yeah, give me Army minus the 5.5. SMU at Temple, 12 o'clock on ESPN+. SMU, a 17.5-point favorite. Have not been impressed with Temple. SMU's playing pretty good football. Give me SMU minus those 17.5. South Florida at Memphis, 12 o'clock also on ESPN+. Memphis, a 17.5-point favorite in this game, but I am going to flip my pick with SMU. I think that's too many points for Memphis here. I think South Florida has played some teams pretty close. I do think Memphis wins this game. I think they win it closer to 2 touchdowns, though. I think the 17.5 is just a little bit too much. I mean, I could see Memphis winning by 17 in this game. So yeah, give me South Florida plus the 17.5. Tulane at East Carolina, 12 o'clock on ESPN+. Tulane, a 4.5-point favorite. I've liked Tulane. They've done pretty well for me. I'm going to take Tulane minus the 4.5. I think they're the better team. I think they get a good win. Tulsa at Navy, 12 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. Tulsa, a 10.5-point favorite. Don't like picking against service academies, but Tulsa has been pretty impressive to me. Would like that spread a lot more, just under 10 points, but I do think Tulsa can get a win here. Give me Tulsa minus those 10.5. Louisiana Monroe at Georgia State, 12 o'clock on ESPN3. Georgia State, a 17.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Georgia State minus those 17.5. that's a lot of points for them to put up, but I think they can do it. ULM might surprise me. They've sort of gone back and forth. They've not played well, and then they play teams that I thought would beat them by a bunch really close. Oh, now I'm going to change my pick. I'm taking ULM plus the 17.5 there. I think that's a little bit too much points for Georgia State. I think ULM plays them close. Give me ULM plus the 17.5. Arkansas State at Louisiana Lafayette, the Ragin' Cajuns, 12 o'clock on ESPNU. Louisiana Lafayette, a 14.5 point favorite. Have not liked what I've seen out of Arkansas State these past couple of weeks. But just over 2 touchdowns. I think that's a tiny bit too much. I think right about 2 touchdowns is where the spread should be. I think if this was 13.5 instead of 14.5, I would pick Louisiana to cover. But I'm going to take Arkansas State plus those 14.5. All right, next up, Troy at Georgia Southern, 1 o'clock on ESPN3. Troy, a 2.5 point favorite. But I am going to go against the spread here. I think Georgia Southern is the better team. I think Georgia Southern could win outright. But yeah, give me Georgia Southern plus those 2.5 points. UMass at Marshall, 2:30 on ESPN Plus. Marshall, a 44.5 point favorite. And man, is that a lot of points. This is a tough thing to pick just because that is so many points. UMass has not looked good, though. Marshall has won some games where they would have covered this season. I'm going to take Marshall minus those 44.5. North Alabama at Southern Miss, 3 o'clock on ESPN3. Southern Miss, a 16.5 point favorite. I like where that spread is. Give me Southern Miss minus those 16.5. I've liked the way they've played. They've been playing better and better, I feel like, since that first game. Just under 17 points. I think that's a good point spread. Give me Southern Miss minus the 16.5. App State at Texas State, 3 o'clock on ESPN Plus. App State, a 17.5 point favorite. Would like that just under 17 a little bit more, but I do think App State is the much better team. Texas State has played some people really close, though. Played SMU really close in that first game. I think App State gets it done here, though. Give me App State minus the 17.5. Houston at Cincinnati, 3:30 on ABC. Cincinnati, a 13.5 point favorite, just under 2 touchdowns. I feel like the betting lines are finally starting to catch up with where I've seen that Cincinnati was. They've been picking them, or they've been showing them to win by about a touchdown, and I've been saying that was way too few points, and they've kept showing it. I still think, even though Houston is a pretty good team, I still think just under 2 touchdowns is a good spot to take Cincinnati here. Give me Cincinnati minus the 13.5. I think 2 touchdowns is probably a decent spread for this game. I think that's probably about where it should be. So under 14 points, give me Cincinnati minus the points. UTSA at Rice, 3:30 on ESPN3. Rice, a 5.5 point favorite. Now, UTSA let me down last week, but I can't expect them to get it done every time. Don't know how much I trust Rice, though. UTSA has a good defense. Give me UTSA plus the 5.5. Would really like that more if it was closer to a touchdown, but It is what it is. I'm taking UTSA plus the points. Charlotte at Middle Tennessee, 3:30 on ESPN Plus. Charlotte a 4.5-point favorite. I've liked Charlotte. They've played a bunch of close games. They've played some good teams really well. Give me Charlotte minus those 4.5. Do not trust Middle Tennessee. They have not looked good. Fresno State at UNLV, 3:30 on the CBS Sports Network. Fresno State an 11.5-point favorite. I like Fresno State. I think they're a good team. It's under 2 touchdowns. Give me Fresno State minus those 11.5 points. Western Kentucky at Florida Atlantic. 6 o'clock. No TV on this game. Florida Atlantic a 6.5-point favorite. Western Kentucky has not been playing great. Just under a touchdown. Give me Florida Atlantic minus the points. If this is anything over a touchdown, I probably would take Western Kentucky plus the points, but not super confident there. But under a touchdown, I think this is a really good spot. Give me FAU minus those 6.5. La Tech at North Texas, 7 o'clock on the CBS Sports Network. North Texas, a 1.5-point favorite. I'm going to take La Tech plus the points. That may be a mistake. La Tech has gotten blown out a few times. But yeah, give me La Tech plus those 1.5. South Alabama at Coastal Carolina, 8 o'clock ESPNU. Coastal Carolina, an 18-point favorite, and that's a lot of points against a South Alabama team that I think is decent. But, man, I've liked Coastal Carolina. They've looked really good. They've won some good games for me. Give me Coastal Carolina minus those 18 points. Last up, New Mexico at Hawaii. 11 o'clock, not on TV. Hawaii, a 15.5-point favorite. Hawaii kind of let me down last week. They don't really have as high-powered of an offense as I guess I've sort of been used to Hawaii having. Don't really trust New Mexico, though. Really wish this was just under 2 touchdowns instead of just over. But I'm going to take Hawaii minus those 15.5 and hope they can get something going on offense in this game. All right, that's it for all of the Group of 5 and Independents that are playing in Week 10. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button. It really helps me out with the whole YouTube algorithm. And if you're enjoying these pick series, subscribe to the channel. I do them all every week. Videos picking every single FBS game against the spread, and I'm going to keep doing it for the rest of the season. I'll see you next time.